Hello everyone. It's been a while since my last video. In fact, it's been pretty much exactly a year. It was November of 2023 when I released an update video discussing a new map that I was working on. Now, of course, there have been updates to the server since then. There have been PvP testing events, and I've spoken a lot on the Discord about things that I'm working on, but I haven't made any videos. And I do like making these videos. I think that it reaches a larger segment of the community. Then there's a lot of people that see the videos that aren't necessarily in the Discord. So I think it's one of the best ways to inform the people who are interested. Now, in the last video that I had made, I was showcasing an early version of a map concept that I was working on. Now, I've experimented with many different iterations of this over time, and every time I made a new version of the map, a bit more would carry over into the next as I was learning more about what exactly it was that I wanted to do in terms of the layout and how it would affect gameplay. But I also very quickly realized that level design isn't really a strength of mine. I'm quite comfortable when it comes to programming and gameplay design. Absolutely, I'm very happy with that. But the level design, the architectural, the aesthetic finesse required in that aspect of map making, just it wasn't really a forte of mine. However, I will say you guys probably remember my good friend Ben, who worked on early versions of the map in the beginning. He helped me out with that. He is quite skilled at using Hammer. He himself is a 3D artist, and he has taken over working on the most recent version of the map, and he's doing a spectacular job. He had been busy for a long time, so I had taken over working on the map myself in addition to the programming. And so things were definitely going a lot slower because I was kind of split between these two major tasks for the server, and combine that with the fact that my life itself had gotten quite busy. But I didn't want to stop working on Roots completely. I still love it a great deal. And I didn't want to just give up on it, and I didn't want to give up on the people in the community who had clearly shown so much appreciation for it. I really think that you guys deserve for me to put the work in. I think that you deserve something good after showing so much care and dedication to a game that you haven't even been able to play. But enough soft stuff. I'm going to discuss what it is that I've been working on and what I will continue to be working on here in the very near future. With Ben and myself working on the server in parallel, that makes things a lot easier for everyone, meaning that we can get a lot more done in a short amount of time. And I think that it is appropriate for me to discuss some of the plans that I have for the server. Now, as you guys know, typically talking about plans and things that aren't real, things that are not playable on the server, is not something that I typically do very much. I think it's kind of a bad practice for game developers to talk too much about things that they haven't actually made. However, it is important for the community to be aware of what it is that I'm doing, what direction the server is headed in. So I will touch on the general overview of what Roots is becoming. Some of you who are more active in the community will know much of this because I have discussed it over time. However, the large majority of people who do follow Roots to some degree will be unaware of this because I haven't made any major announcements or videos. It's just internal community discussions and whatnot. So, the first and most important thing is that I have started making a brand new game mode from scratch. Absolutely 100% original code. I'm not even starting from sandbox mode. So all of the impulse stuff is gone, completely gone. It is a forgotten nothing of a memory. It was a starting point for an early thing that I did a long time ago while I was learning programming, but now I am experienced enough with programming that I can make my own game mode. And that's what I'm doing. Roots is starting from the beginning. And that means there isn't even a spawn menu. No clip isn't even a command. If you press V, nothing happens. I'm starting from nothing. And from this clean foundation, I want to make this new game mode of Roots. Of course, the primary goal of Roots is immersion within the world of Half-Life 2. Now, the map that Ben is working on has something very interesting going on with it. The starting point that we're using for the map is actually an old concept for the entire city of City 17 that Valve made about midway through the development of the game. Now, the interesting way that this compares to other Valve content that we've used in the past is that previously I would take existing Half-Life 2 maps, I would stitch them together, and then we would use that as a basis for role-playing. Of course, those were first-person shooter levels. They didn't work very well in an RP setting. They were very resource-intensive because there was so much detail in them. They were never meant to be combined into one big level. But this City 17 concept map by Valve that Ben was able to find was actually used by the developers while they were making all of the different levels for Half-Life 2, and it gave them an idea of what the game world was supposed to be shaped like. In other words, this is as close to a canon overall design of Half-Life 2 as we can get. It is nearly the entirety of City 17, designed by the original developers themselves. However, because it's a concept map, it was at the time, and still is for our purposes, able to be manipulated in any way so that we can create better gameplay. They turned it into a first-person shooter game, and we're going to turn it into a role-playing game. This new role-playing game is going to have lots of RPG elements, like individual character stats and skills which affect things like your physical health and the outcomes of various actions. A lot of the new gameplay is going to be based on physics and physical object interactions using this new dynamic custom entity type that I'm working on. The world and the gameplay have a focus on concepts like constant change, the struggle of holding on to the things that we value most, and the endless cycles of life. There's going to be a new character system where you're taking control of a person with an existing previous life. You have the ability to control aspects of these characters, like your age and your ethnicity, but you are not making them entirely from scratch. These characters also are mortal, and they will eventually die. But you don't reset all your progress like in a traditional permadeath system. What you do with the character and how long you've managed to survive for will carry on into each of your next lives. You're rewarded for being able to adapt to the different environments and situations you encounter, and being able to work with not only the different abilities of others, but your own changing set of capabilities. And depending on how you play, you can earn the ability to fine-tune your new characters if you prefer certain playstyles. I want to emphasize that with the new way that I'm designing the game mode, death is not necessarily failure, but rather it's an intended part of the experience. Quote-unquote progress exists outside of the current character you are controlling. You are meant to inevitably die. It is part of the story. Sometimes it's even from things that you can't control. But I want to design the game in such a way that, despite sometimes it not being something that you had any ability to fight against, it doesn't feel truly unfair. And I still want taking care of your life to feel important and be rewarding. Now, I want to start making regular monthly updates similar to my old weekly format. Providing these updates gives me a lot of motivation, and I can see how it inspires the people in the community and gets them excited for what's to come. In the future, what I want to show off is the things that are actually on the server. Even if the server isn't yet in a playable state, I want the work that I discuss or show to be things that are actually physically done. With Ben and I working together on the server again, hopefully you will be happy with the progress that we can make. I'll be releasing another update video around this same time next month. I'm excited to show you what I will have gotten done in the meantime, and I look forward to the day that we can all play on the root server again.